I I forgot. Oh dang. I'm like 10 minutes late to this. I'm 10 minutes late. And it looks like I did not miss anything much. Okay. So I guess I did not miss anything much. I was just playing some Guilty Gear. Come on, I was playing some Guilty Gear. I heard this song before. It's from that one movie. What was that? Francis Ha. That was that movie. Since when did Square Enix make Marvel games? I'm gonna sell Rocket though. I didn't even watch the movies though. Yeah. Star Lord. God damn. So it would seem all they'd shown would be would be it would seem, huh. I haven't missed much, so okay. So I didn't miss anything good. In a flash of light, those bushes were gone. It looked like they were on top of a brain. It really could have been. Yeah. Shut up. They talk too much. Okay, so what was that? Huh. Well, I'm good on the stuff for now. So at the very least, I'm not working on anything right now, so yeah. Of course. I thought you had rocket, he could fly. Excuse me. Frame rate. That could be my but then that could also be on my end. Is that a giant radio? No. At least it's colorful. It's a raccoon. No? I don't have much to say about this one. So they've been like on this for like almost 20 minutes now. This Guardians of the Galaxy. Hey, girl. Hmm. It looks nice, I'll give it that. But, whatever. Though, like, let's move on. Huh. Okay. Alright, but let's see. Huh. Oh, hey. Final Fantasy 1? 6. Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Uh-oh. Okay. This is that Mana one. Legends of Mana. Excuse me. Alright. That's it? Okay. So much love for Mana, though. More Marvel. I don't care. What did they do to the Hulk? I mean that just in general. What the hell did they do to the Hulk? It's like it's barely even the Hulk anymore. Like, he may as well be an orc now. I don't know, one of the things that made the Hulk interesting to me is that back and forth between balancing being Bruce Banner and the Hulk. It's just awkward now to see the Hulk basically. I mean, he technically is Bruce Banner, but like, he's Bruce Banner. Like, he really is. Like, he's the Hulk, but he's still Bruce himself. But it just defeats the dilemma of the Hulk. Now he's just simply big and strong. Oh, look, it was her. Does anyone really give us much of a shit about her? Like, really? What can she even do? Oh, look who it is. So I still didn't watch that movie, and I still don't really care. The only Marvel character I give any sort of shit about is Spider-Man. The Hulk was interesting, but I don't know, they kind of ruined the Hulk now. They still can't get me to give a shit about this dude. Whatever, come on. Have I heard this song before? I... Huh. Mecha spiders. Huh. Black Panther. Screw Black Panther! Give me Blade! God damn. Come on. Freaking Blade, man. Blade. Hold on. Yeah?
Be available in the coming months. Good evening, 426. Our intelligence reports
And I am back. What is this? Yeah, they'll never know what hit them. Never. Huh? Uh-huh. More mobile stuff. What is this? Yeah, Final Fantasy 1. What? Look at this! This actually does piss me off. Just remake this freaking game, please. Saying all the what it could be and stuff. Just come on. Just remake the first Final Fantasy. You've been bringing back with all the stuff you do, or all the other ones. Come on, it's the first one, don't you think? Don't you think? Just remake the first one. Or hell, remake 6. And don't do what you did with this. No, wait, this is 14. What? Never mind. Oh. Another mobile game. Unique. Let's see that. Yeah. Yeah, let's see that. Let's see how unique it looks. Okay. So, we're talking like the actual Babylon, right? Like, what's it called? Like Gilgamesh? This is based off like the Epic of Gilgamesh or something? Because that would be very interesting. That alone would make me want to play. But I don't know. Just looking at this. Yeah, they're getting me so far. But I would have to still disagree with this art style being unique, though. Have they been paying attention? They didn't know how many other games look like this. Yep, it's not unique. Get out of here with that. Almost the entirety of modern video games have a look like this with the go with the photorealistic look. It's not unique. The only thing unique would be the backgrounds and the enemy designs, but I don't know. You could find another game that looks similar. So, but I don't really care that much about that. Hmm. Interesting. I'll admit it's interesting. Uh, uh. Oh yeah, that. I'm still playing that. Hmm. I won't lie. Nier Automata is a very, very cool game. I'm not done with it yet. I want to get Replicant. I'm still just debating on which I want to get it on. I'm either gonna get Replicant on the PS4 or I might get the original one on the PS3. I'll I'll assess it. Isao Dekishi. The Gideon coffin. I kind of wish you did a little more cartoonish. I'm still playing that Astral Chain. I'd get back to that. That's another of their games I actually do enjoy quite a bit. Okay. Closed beta. Um. Wait. That's not a superpower! That's not a superpower. Empathy is not a superpower. No, you really gotta be shitting with that. Are you... No. No. What is wrong with you? No. Huh. But this isn't that. This is the other ones. These are the other ones. It looks better, I'll give it that. I did play both of them. It's kind of tragic to me because it's Life is Strange is one of those games where I used to like it, but going back to it, I I begin to see a lot of the problems in it, and then I just can't feel the same about it anymore. Like, there's a few writing problems, and then quite a bit of the characters. Some of the leaps, there's plenty of leaps of logic with quite a bit of the characters. Like, even like Chloe. Because back then I used to like Chloe, but then now when I look at Chloe, I can't feel the same about her anymore. Like, damn. damn, like, hate to say it, but like, I get what the girl goes through, but then at the end of the day, that doesn't justify the way she acts and the things she does. Especially when you play at Before the Storm, it really seems like she hasn't really learned much. I mean, there's a guy on YouTube that analyzes Chloe's character. And he goes into how you could salvage, how you could properly piece everything together that would actually make Chloe's character seem more sense and actually salvage her character. The problem is they didn't do that, but it kind of, like, it's kind of sad, because then it's like, if they did figure this stuff out themselves, then it could have been at least a bit better, a little bit salvageable. Yeah, like I think she's from the first game. Which is not a real superpower. Which is not that hard to do. But that's mind reading. Okay. But my... So she's a mind reader. Excuse me. But then, why not just call it mind reading? I mean, the other two, they have basic powers. I mean, like, as if no one ever heard of the ability to travel through time, or the ability to, like, telekinesis, psychokinesis, however you call it. This is just mind reading. Or why not just make it that? It's just straight up mind reading. It'd be far more interesting if you couldn't read their minds. And yet, it would still be an important function that you were able to read the room. Tell how the people are feeling and what they're thinking to progress through the game and stuff like that. Or to access certain paths and stuff like that. And wavelengths, what was that? Is that a... I'm guessing that wasn't one I missed. So apparently they got a bonus story wave. What's this hipster bullshit? What? Okay, cool. Tetsuya Nomura. I know that name. Oh, them. Koei Tecmo. So this is a Final Fantasy? Koei Tecmo usually makes like the... What's it called? The Warriors games. Like Samurai Warriors. Dynasty Warriors. So this is a bit different. So what's this? It's like... It's like Final Fantasy 15, but... It moves a bit cooler. I gotta get back to that game though. It seems cool. I'll give it that. Yeah. Shut up, bitch. That hairstyle. I knew it was a Final Fantasy game. But it looks cool. Interesting. Up PS5. That looks interesting. So now, no, more to come than now, please. So I'm familiar with that. I'm honestly pretty disappointed with the direction they chose for that one. Replicant. Is that out yet? I do want to play that. I want to play it after I beat the first one though. I almost forgot that was them. I almost forgot all about that. Show us more of that. And what the... Oh, right. 14, I see it. Show us more of 16. What? What? When is that supposed to be exactly? So that's it? That's it? Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, that's it. Alright, well, let's get to the discussion. Baddie? Shit. I don't know. I have to say it was kind of alright. I won't lie, Square Enix did a decent job, but a decent job. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was very good, but it was decent. That Babylon's Fall is looking very interesting. I like to see more of that. It's very, very interesting. Like, what's the story? And a little bit about the characters and stuff like that. I'm personally a fan of Platinum Games, so I'm happy to see that is looking pretty cool. Same with that new Final Fantasy thing. the Final Fantasy Origins thing. That actually does look cool too. It's being co-developed by Team Ninja and what was that one? Koei Tecmo. Team Ninja makes some great stuff. Regardless of how anyone would feel about that DMC game. Like, aside from that, you can at least admit that game looked and moved cool. So, I'll give it that. But my thing is, it does seem pretty cool. And I don't know, it's like for what they've shown, it's pretty interesting. So I'd like to keep my eyes on that. That might be one I'll get whenever, if it's either gonna be on the PS4 or if it goes on the PC, which I don't know. Chances are it'll be on the PC. I'll give it time. It likely will. And then there's the I don't know. That's kind of it. They just everything else they shown was like, I don't know, that Legends of Mana. I do want to try and get into the Mana games. And that Legends of Mana seemed a little interesting. I'll give that one too. Because otherwise, it's like, that's it. I don't give a damn about any of the Marvel stuff they shown. And then it would have been nice to hear more about Final Fantasy 16. But we didn't even get that. How's that going? But then I don't even know. I'm kind of falling out of love with Final Fantasy. Like, to an extent. To the point where I don't quite give a damn about any of the newer ones. It's like, I want to keep my eyes open on 16, but the more I look at it, the more I keep thinking Dragon Age. Plus, it looks rather dull. The actual Dragon Age looks a bit more livelier than that. So I'm not very thrilled with how Final Fantasy 16 is looking right now. I'm not. So they have to show more of that for me to be getting more invested in that, because otherwise it's like I don't care. And even then, what I'm pissed off about is like, because I don't care about the 7 remake anymore. They defeated any purpose of me being interested in that one, because it's not the original story. Whoever was like, you put that against me, fine, but that's genuinely how I feel. I only got the remake just to experience the original story that everybody loves so much. And I wanted to experience Final Fantasy 7. I wanted to see what everybody loves so much. It was just would have been nice to give it a graphical upgrade. But no, I mean, I'm not against it getting remade from the ground up, but then they went too far. Like, they broke it for me when they touched the story radically, and apparently that's what they did. So I was like, sorry, but now I have a copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake for sale. So if anyone wants it, they can buy it off me. Because if no one's gonna buy it, then I'm just gonna throw it away or sell it to a GameStop or something. But I'd rather get money for it. So either someone buys it off me, or I'll just sell it to a GameStop or a thrift store. I'll just sell it. Ugh. I just don't want it anymore. Again, call me a fanboy. You're welcome to that, but that's genuinely how I feel. And then you got, but my thing is like, all this Final Fantasy stuff. So they're giving a new polish to Final Fantasy 1 through 6. I guess that's fine, but I don't know. My thing is like, I think one of the games that could have gotten, let's call it the remake treatment, or I don't know, because I guess I wanted to specify the difference between that. Because then there's the way of Final Fantasy VII, but then there's the way of, say, Final Fantasy IV. Because Final Fantasy IV had a remake for the DS, and it was pretty cool. Final Fantasy... there was another... I think there was another Final Fantasy game. Yeah, Final Fantasy III got a remake also on the DS. I haven't played it, so I can't say much for that. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to see that treatment for Final Fantasy VI. Or the Hero 6, aside from 7, is one of the greatest Final Fantasy stories. Like, from what I've heard, the greatest Final Fantasy stories would either, like, say, the top 5 Final Fantasy games would tend to be, in no particular order, 10, 4, 6, 9, and 7. Having a hard time getting into 10. I have 10. I may try to keep going further into it, because I have friends that play 10 and they adore it. And, well, playing it, it's alright. It's alright so far. I guess I'm just having a hard time getting into it. It's like something happened in that game, please. I mean, like, when you start it, something does happen, but it's like after that, then it's like it's a little slow for me. So I guess it's just a matter of patience. So I guess, but then it's like, and I could be playing something else that'd be more captivating to me, and that's what it's been like for me in 10. Because otherwise, I'd rather play 9. I actually am liking 9 a lot. So right now, Final Fantasy 9 would be my favorite out of the number series. I really, really like 9 and its characters and its world and stuff. Pretty damn cool. 4. Did not finish 4 because I lost it. But while the remake is on Steam, I'd rather just play it on DS. So I think what I'll do is I'll just rebuy. I hate the idea of that. Ugh, but I don't know where my original copy is, unfortunately, so unless I turn everything upside down to find it, or I'll just buy a remake. Because otherwise, I have no idea where it could be, and so I guess I'll just buy another copy. Unfortunately, but it is what it is. 6, didn't get far in 6 yet. Got the Steam version on that. 7, excluding the remake, I never played it. But G. I mean, because I want to play Final Fantasy 8. I do. I was debating either getting it on the Switch or getting it on Steam. And I know about the whole censorship debacle about Final Fantasy 8, and well, me personally, I am no fan of censorship. Like, indeed, it's like straight up no censorship. But at the same time, I won't lie. If it's like it's like if it doesn't really change the game too much for me, I may still buy it. Like, my stance on that is, yeah, straight up no censorship. Ideally, I would prefer no censorship of any kind at all. I guess you could say is that while at the same time, I would not, however, like, I would not let it keep me from playing something, like if I really want to play it. So in the case of Final Fantasy VIII, like I wouldn't let it, I wouldn't, as much as I don't like that they censored things in that game, I wouldn't let it keep me from playing something, like if I really want to play it. So in the case of Final Fantasy VIII, like I wouldn't, I wouldn't, as much as I don't like that they censored things in that game, I wouldn't let it keep me from playing something, like if I really want to play it. So in the case of Final Fantasy VIII, like I wouldn't, as much as I don't like that they censored things in that game, I'm not just gonna go along with the whole boycott of it if it's something I really want to play, and that's my thing. It's like, the only exception is if they censored it too badly, they go too far with it to the point where it's like, okay, like, just straight up, no, I'm not gonna support this. So, with that said, my plan with that is, I would like to play it on the Steam version, play it on the PC, and if there's any decensor patch, I'll get that patch and play it with that patch. That's likely like a mod or something. Even though from what I've heard, what they censored is just some sexual stuff. And while I don't really care for that either which way, I guess I'd be doing it just for the principle. Because I don't know, that's my thing. It's like, you don't need to censor this. Like, I think most people who play this game would be old enough to handle a bit of cleavage and stuff like that. So what was the point? It's just dumb to me. I digress. My point is, I really want to play Final Fantasy VIII. But then I could just get the original version. I kind of do want to play the remastered. But if I get the remastered, I might see if there's the censored patch. Because otherwise, I'll just put up with it. Like, it's not changing too much for me. And I don't know. Because still, I am still strongly against censorship. I don't know, it's a conundrum for me to deal with. But that's not what I really want to talk about. My thing is, it's like, because that pissed me off. It's like Final Fantasy 1. It's like, is it truly getting like a remake sort of thing? And it's like, nope, it's getting a polish. A bit of a remaster in a sense. For mobile. I mean, it's on Steam too, but it's like, come on. Why not give this game a full-on remaster? Why not? Oh right, that also reminds me. We may have another show starting up soon. Now that's the Warner Bros. Thing. This Back for Blood. I don't know what this is supposed to be though. So I might just skip that, but there will be the PC gaming show. There'll be the PC gaming show in like 2 hours. So I'll tune in for that. Because they show a lot of PC games, likely some indies. So I'll be tuning in for that. But back to Square Enix. This just pisses me off. It's like look at how they animated him. Look how they made him the freaking protagonist of the freaking first Final Fantasy. And it's like, look what you've made. Look what you're capable of now. All this time, is it really that hard to I don't know. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. Why not? It'd be perfect. It'd be a very good way to honor this beloved series. I think for any series, really, to allow people to re-experience how it began, or try to give the best experience possible of how it all began. And while allowing us to play it in the classic way is good, something I wish the Shin Megami Tensei series would heed a bit better. And yes, that includes the Persona series. I don't know, I guess I was hoping for something a little bit more... like a little bit more... polished. A little bit more updated, in a sense. Maybe not complete, straight up modernized to the point where we have Final Fantasy 1, but you play it in the same way you play Final Fantasy 15 or 16 or goodness gracious, 13. No. Like, all it would get is just a graphical look. Like in akin to how Final Fantasy 3 and 4 were brought back to life on the DS. Something like that. It'd be nice to re-experience, or rather, I never played it, but at which it would be nice to just straight up experience what it's truly like. It'd be nice to experience the very first Final Fantasy story. You don't have to touch the story. In fact, please don't touch the story. Make sure it's the same as much as possible. Update what you may have to absolutely have to. But as long as it's still pretty much the same story. That's all I ask for. That's all I want. It'd be nice to see that. Or do that for 6. I would like to see that for 6. You can see the frickin' sprite work, the artwork, and the designs for 6. And I know about that final boss. And it's like, come on. Of all that you're capable of all that you made, if you remake 6 that way, imagine being such a beautiful looking game with such I can't say too much about the story because I don't know much about it, but if you could make something worthy of the notoriety of that game, of its reputation, goddamn, I bet a lot of people, a lot of fans of games, not just Final Fantasy but even RPGs, will probably be singing your praises. I don't know, it's just... Get all the other... I mean, I get Final Fantasy 7. It's Final Fantasy 7. 8... It's a bit of a dubious one. I don't know if it's safe to say that one's like a cult classic, I guess. And then they got 9. We'll still give 9 some love, but I kind of... It'd be nice that they don't change 9 that much, and they have not. It's like, let 9, like, say if they do a straight up remake of 9, don't give it realistic looking graphics. I think one of the things is in the art style of 9, there's a lot of charm to it. It's like the cartoonish the anime cartoonishness to it, but it works with the personality of the game and its characters. So, like, if you remake 9, just keep that. Keep that. 10 doesn't necessarily need a remake. 11's an MMO that's closed right now. 11, then the 12. They redid 12. Having a hard time getting into 12. 13. Played 13. I don't know, maybe 13 would need a thing. Have it played differently, so it's not as easy. Unless you purposely play it the hard way. Because other than that, I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with Final Fantasy. They try, but I can't say they do that well of a job. Ugh. Hell, I would say, I would ask for this at least. Like, play, like, a new Crystal Chronicles entry would be nice. I don't just want them bringing back the first Crystal Chronicles, which is okay. It's Crystal Chronicles. Apparently a lot of people were disappointed with it, and I could see why. But then me, I always played Crystal Chronicles by myself. I had no one who'd want to play it with me. I still managed to enjoy it by myself, and I'm still enjoying it by myself. So, yeah, because I see the case about the multiplayer. Apparently there's no local multiplayer, and there's only online multiplayer, but the online multiplayer, they fucked up really badly. And it's like, ugh. Oh man. I feel bad for the game. But I would like a new Crystal Chronicles. We didn't get that. So, as far as Final Fantasy goes, I'm not that pleased. The Nier. Well, Nier Mobile. Who asked for that? I don't care for that personally. It's Nier Mobile. Nier Replicant, I again, like I said, I want to get. I just don't know how I want to play it, but Nier Replicant. I don't know, there isn't really much new Nier stuff. They could have re-released the Drakengard games. That would have been nice. Nier comes from that. Re-release the Drakengard games, all 3 of them. Remaster them or something. Allow people to play the Drakengard games again. Is there a way to play it? Because as far as I know, you can only play them if you get their original PS2 games. And that's like the only way to play them. They're not even on Steam. No, wait. They could be. Let me check real quick. Come on. 'Cause I don't even think they're on Steam. Because that's the original series. Like, Nier comes from Drakengard. I have the first Drakengard game. I like it so far. Like, for sure, I like it so far. And now my keyboard's acting up again. But dang, just why not bring back the Drakengard games and allow people to play them? They're not on Steam. Put them on Steam. Allow people to play them. It's like honor the roots of Nier. Because Nier Automata is a cool game. It really is. I'm really, really liking it so far. No, but I want to beat that before I play Replicant. I don't know how this mobile game ties into any of this. But it's a mobile game. I don't have much care for it. The only way I may get it is if it gets on Steam and there's something relative, and it has there's something interesting enough in it to make me want to play it. Because otherwise, the only other thing would be that Life is Strange thing, but I just find it stupid. Because it's like, that girl's power is not a superpower. Empathy is not a superpower. Like, it's interesting. Because then you got the case of autism. And from what I've looked into, what would be the main... what's the word? What would be the main... Shit, I'm forgetting the word. It's like... Characteristic! That's the word. What would be the main characteristic of autism would be the lack of empathy, or at least the poor, or lacking good empathy skills. Like it's hard for you to empathize. Like, it's hard for you to empathize with people, or empathize with them at all. It's not the same as psychopathy, where it's not about empathy, but it's more like, say, having a conscience. You just straight up don't have a conscience. At which, but then, I don't know, that's the thing, though. It's like, Most people on this planet are not autistic, though. And again, like, and while apparently what would be the main characteristic of autism may be empathy, I'm not an expert on this, because for all I am understanding, that may not be completely true for all cases of autism. Like, some people with autism might have skills for empathy, but then at the same time, it's like I deal with people. I know multiple people with autism, and it's like I remember one case with one dude who has autism, like a bit of a high functioning one, and well, indeed you could say he's like, I guess it's like, I don't know, you could take what, my, remembering words. What would you call this? I guess it would be accurately a speculation. My speculation. So, you can take my speculation with a grain of salt. In fact, I encourage that. Take it with a grain of salt. At which, I'm not sure he has the natural ability to, like, naturally empathize. Like, tell how I'm feeling and stuff like that. But it's not like he can't understand the feeling itself. Like, say if, like, I'm visibly sad. I think he can register that, wow, like, he's sad. But then, I don't think he could easily either, like, comprehend or register how sad I am. Like he'd be able to tell that I'm sad, but then I think he's probably able to only tell the surface level that I am sad, but not the depth of my sadness. Like, what am I exactly sad about? Or stuff like that. But I think when it comes to empathy, it's a bit more specific. Like, say, it's less about telling that I am sad, but it's more about the situation and how it makes me feel. Like, say, I've lost a friend. And, well, as simple as that, I've lost a friend. And, of course, it's going to make you sad. And I think you would tell that I would be sad about that because, of course. But, you lost a friend, but I think that's it. You would put it together that I am sad that I lost a friend because it's the fact that just the matter that it would be normal for people to be sad after losing a friend. But he wouldn't be able to register on his own that I'm sad because that I've lost my friend. As in, like, I have lost my friend, therefore I am, like, it won't be able to put the connections together of how I am sad off losing my friend or something like that. I hope I'm making sense. And not grossly say, like insulting people. But it's like, I guess the point I'm trying to make is the ability to empathize with people is not a superpower. It's pretty normal. It's just a case of people don't do it. They just simply don't. Like, they purposely choose not to empathize with you. Or even if they do, they don't care. They don't give that much of a damn. It's like I understand how you feel, but whatever, screw you anyway. Or indeed, they can't. Out of things like, say, like certain conditions that prevent them from properly being able to do that. Like autism, like having autism.
because then it's like they wouldn't indeed they wouldn't get how losing a friend makes me sad just based off, say, the details, or just based off the details or things like that. They wouldn't get, because from what I've also learned is when it comes to having something like autism, it's oh, of course, the thing, of course, when it comes to autism, your brain works rather differently compared to people without autism. But then indeed, that does not mean you're stupid. You're not stupid, but your brain is just wired in a rather different way, at which it changes the way you think, or it changes the way your brain works in some sort of way, if I'm understanding correctly. Again, take my speculation with a grain of salt. At which, indeed, you get people with autism that are very, very skilled or very, very talented, or even geniuses. There's a word for that. They're called savants. So it's not like they're hopeless people. No, you got some that are actually very, very intelligent, or some that are very, very skilled savants. The issue, however, is when it comes to, indeed, say, going back to the case of empathy, and not just empathy, but other things such as cognitive function. So that could be why that autism movement, I can't recall its exact name, Autism Speaks, that's what it's called. They represent themselves, and when people refer to autism, they use puzzle pieces. I'm guessing it's on the matter that trying to express the case of, say, people with autism would have a hard time computing things, reduced cognitive function, stuff like that, to the point where they'd have a harder time, say, solving puzzles and stuff. They have difficulty in puzzle solving and stuff like that, and problem solving. I have reason to suspect that may actually be the case, because that I have not done super deep research into autism. Because on the matter of that's based on an observation. Because, again, I got some friends that are like that, and I do know someone he's a kid who has a high functioning case of autism, and I seen him play a game, and he did have some difficulty playing certain parts of the game that for me was honestly easy. It was pretty easy, but then he'd solve it. It's give him some time, and then he'd learn, and then he'd solve it. And it's so for me, it's based on my own personal observations, but I'm not going to discount what I've observed. I do want to put more reading into it, but I don't know, my thing is I have not, because there wasn't a whole lot of reason for me to really research into autism. The only time I did is indeed when I met this one friend that I keep bringing up, where I don't know, he gave a shit about me, and I cared a lot about him. I met him in college, and it was I wanted to understand exactly what I was dealing with more. So I could, for the sake of being a better friend, so I don't end up doing anything that would just, screw with him or hurt him or upset him and stuff like that. And I don't know, because then at the same time, I also was also friends with another friend. I was friends with another dude with autism, and then my thing is like, with him, we should talk more. Cause he's a pretty cool dude. It's just a shame we don't talk much. Well, that is definitely something that I should consider. Reach out to him again, because it's been a while. I do want to talk to him somewhere. But indeed, it was just as simple as, because he made it clear, where it's just as simple as just don't treat him differently because he has autism. Just try to treat him like everybody else, because at the end of the day, it's like that's what he himself wants. Like, just like I get it, but still, just don't change how you interact with him. Just interact with him the way you interact with everybody else. But why am I talking about autism now? I'm supposed to be talking about this frickin' game. But it's like this game is assuming that I have autism or something like that. But it's like, I don't even know. I don't know. Because it's like, that girl's power, it's essentially mind reading. I mean, the way they described it, it's like, why not just make it full? That's essentially what it is. She's reading people's minds. So just make it full blown mind reading. But they're calling it like power of empathy. But that's empathy is not a superpower. And what they showed and what they described isn't necessarily empathy, it's mind reading. So why not just call it mind reading? Because goddamn, it's just like, I don't know, it's just dumb. It's just dumb to me. It's like, empathy is not a superpower. Or what? It's like, the person who came up with that doesn't have the power of empathy? And it's like, well, damn. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I don't know. If you're not autistic, then, well, shit. I don't know. I just think it's dumb. Just I don't know. I think at the very least, they should just call it mind reading. Because it kind of is what her power really is. Because it's like, if she can hear their thoughts and stuff, and peer into their minds, that's mind reading. Just call it mind reading. Because otherwise, they should have made, because otherwise it's like, what the hell? That's not that's all I have to say. Empathy is not a superpower. It could have been another thing like Before the Storm, where Chloe apparently doesn't have any powers, but they could have made a mechanic where you'd have the ability, or maybe not necessarily the ability per se, but they could have made up a mechanic where it could be like a test. They could have made it interesting. This could have been actually an interesting game mechanic. This could have actually been an interesting gameplay mechanic that even tests the player and their ability to empathize with people. And say if you are autistic, then I don't know, they could have figured something out, or they could have had that be, or indeed like they could have figured something out, or indeed they could have it where you have the ability to play the game without using that power at all. You got two ways to play. Use the power to play, either just make it easier for you, or let's say in this order. You can play it without use that power at all. And instead you have this other mechanic. You have these other gameplay functions that allow you to learn about the situation and not only empathize with the person, but talk to them and connect with them in a way to the point where they feel comfortable enough with you to confide in you. And having a good sense of empathy can lead to things like that, to where people can feel comfortable enough with you and people will confide in you because they not only feel they trust you, but they'd also feel that you'd understand them. But if it's too hard, then, or you just want to just play it in a more easier way, then indeed use the powers. There'd be two ways, and I think that'd be a genius way of going about the game. Probably even enough to make me play the game myself, just to try playing it without using the power at all. It just sounds so interesting. That would have made it so interesting. As far as the story and the characters, I can't say much about that, but at least as far as the gameplay, that would have been enough to probably make me want to play it, because that would have been so interesting. That would have been very interesting. Because indeed, it's like, it's not a superpower. You can empathize with people. Like, it's not a superpower to empathize with people. I don't think it's that hard. I think empathizing with people is not necessarily. I don't think it's not the hardest thing in the world to do. It could be a little complicated and complex in a way, but then I don't know. I personally don't find it hard to do. It's just as simple as sit down, shut up, listen to them. Just listen. And try to understand. If there's something you don't understand, then ask questions. And then I don't think it's that hard. And then there you go. It's like, it's a way to empathize with people. At least that's how I, at least that's my way of learning how to empathize with someone. I just listen what they have to say, hear their side of things, try to understand it, and just, well, it's simple as that. Try to understand it. If there's something I don't understand or don't get, or there's just something I want to know to understand something even more or something like that, I ask questions. Hell, they could have turned all that into a game mechanics. Again, to that idea, where if you want to play it without using that power, then you have a way to do that. Okay. Not saying it works universally, not saying it'll solve all problems, but as far as how to empathize with someone, at least that's one way how. I don't know. I don't think it might be a bit more complicated than even just that. But I guess that's my explanation on how I learn how to empathize with people and stuff. Like, again, it's the case of, because again, I can get where with some people, it's like autism, or even not, from my understanding, from what I've looked into at least, how they work things out is less of, I guess, total observation and going with the flow of things, and more treating things like a puzzle, like treat things like a puzzle, or gamifying things. Like, you could go through life as if you have to have a strategy, going through life with a strategy, sort of thing. Like, going through life strategizing and solving things and issues and problems, as if they were like puzzles and stuff. which is an interesting way to go about life. But indeed, it's like going through the case of emotions like that. It's like probably understand that, like, again, going back to the case of losing a friend and how that makes you sad. You could probably easily piece together that the person's sad because you lose a friend because you lost a friend. At which it's commonly considered very reasonable to be sad after you lose a friend. So likely register that you're sad because you lost a friend. Because, they could piece that together because it's, as a way of putting it, of course it's obvious you'd be sad because you lost a friend. But they wouldn't, understand, but they may overlook how losing that friend makes you sad. And wouldn't understand how losing a friend makes someone sad. So, like, are they assuming this girl can't do that on her own? Because it's kind of that actually would be a question. That actually does bring up a question I would like to have for these devs with this game. Does the main girl herself have autism? Because, say if she does, then that would make the power that she has a bit more interesting. Because again, going on the case of, people with autism either have very weak, skills of empathy, like very weak capacity for empathy or none at all. Going off that, and then this girl having such a power would not only make a bit more sense, but it would make it a bit more interesting. Even to the point of, it's like, how would it make her feel as someone who was unable to have empathy for someone else, but now but then wait, isn't her power because her power is essentially mind reading? I don't know. But then, if her powers essentially just allow her to read minds, but then that's the thing. Because then it would either be the case that her power is to read minds, but also read their emotions, so it's still just mind reading, but with the extra buff of... Her power is still essentially just mind reading, but with the extra buff of being able to feel people's emotions and stuff. I guess you could have a thing with that. Because otherwise, if it's just plain mind reading, it's just plain old mind reading, as everybody knows mind reading to be. Then, that doesn't necessarily help with the empathy department, though. Because again, like, going at it in a case of, like, you're someone who tries to understand things in the world as if it's like a puzzle, or puzzle or strategy game where you gotta piece things together and work things out to figure things out, like essentially solve things. Then it doesn't necessarily help the idea of, I guess it makes the idea of empathizing with people a little easier, I guess. So otherwise, indeed, it's like you read minds and you're able to read in which you read their minds to learn certain details and then you piece it together. But then that still isn't, it still doesn't, because indeed it's still the case of your pieces together and you could still, and you'd still just be deferring. Like, yeah, of course you'd be sad when, say, your girlfriend's cheating on you, because your girlfriend's cheating on you. You're getting that distinction by the idea that cheating is bad, and most people would be upset from cheating. So of course you understand that he's sad about the cheating, because cheating is bad, and that's how cheating makes people feel. When it may not be that simple in this particular case of cheating, because I mean, even though in the case brought up in the game, I'm guessing it was the guy who was cheating. So I guess change that she into a he just to keep some connection to this discussion connected to towards the game. So of course, yeah, it'd be sad. She'd be sad because cheating is bad and stuff like that. We wouldn't be able to understand just based off the, but it may not be that simple. It may not be as simple as that. And there could be other reasons as to why the cheating makes her feel bad, aside from the fact that she's cheating, or even just cheating itself. Because when it comes to cheating, it doesn't make most people feel bad because it's cheating. Because when it comes to having a relationship with someone like that, it's like indeed a social contract that you sign with that other person, that you are the only one that matters to them more than anyone else, or at least in terms of romance. You're the only one that matters, or at least among the people that truly matter most. Like that I want to be with you, and I want to spend my life with you, and something like that. Like in that contract, you're symbolically acknowledging the person as someone very, very important to you. And when it comes to cheating, you're breaking that contract. And in breaking that contract, you're also, even to say inadvertently, telling that other person that you essentially lied, and that they really didn't matter that much to them. At least that's one way that can be interpreted. And I guess the difference between piecing that together through empathy and piecing that together through, let's say, logic, is with empathy, you could already figure that out on your own. You could already figure that out on your own. Like, you wouldn't need to easily piece it together. Like, you'd already can imagine on your own what that is like. And how it make you feel. But then, at the same time, it isn't always about how it make you feel, but then, can you understand how they feel about it? And the other one is the piecing together. I'm talking too much about this. I'm talking way too much about this. And this has been going on for... No, this isn't too long, because I usually go on longer than this. Point is, this Life is Strange game is a bit confusing to me. It's a little dumb to me. And the way they term things in this game makes little sense to me. Because essentially the girl's power is time travel. So why not just say she not time travel, mind control. Why not just say she has mind reading? Sorry if that's loud. Why not just say she has mind reading powers? She can read minds. She can read minds.
That's not empathy. Empathy is not the power to read people's minds and stuff. Empathy is something more complicated than that. True empathy is more complicated than that. It's sure as hell not mind reading. If I could define it as well as possible, I'll also look it up on the dictionary as well. Like I'll look it up. Look up the definition. So how I would define it in my own understanding is the ability to empathize with people is being able to understand how they feel. It's honestly as simple as that. It's just understanding how other people feel. You know, it's like just based off. I don't know. It's like it's just simply the ability to understand how another person feels and what they're going through on their side of things, on their perspective. From trying to understand how they feel from their shoes. Now let's see looking these things up. Now not looking this up, let's see what we get. Empathy from Wikipedia. Not a very reliable source. I don't know. We got Merriam-Webster. Oh right, 'cause they also change frickin' definitions and stuff. I guess it's as good as source as any. Fucking Psychology Today. This is better than those two, so I guess. Empathy is the ability to recognize, understand, and share the thoughts and feelings of another person. Empathy is the ability to recognize, understand, and share the thoughts and feelings of another person, animal, or fictional character. Developing empathy is crucial for establishing relationships and behaving compassionately. It involves experiencing another person's point of view rather than just one's own, and enables pro-social and helping behaviors that come from within rather than being forced. Some surveys indicate that empathy is on the decline in the United States. Okay, that's not only one, tragic, especially since I actually see that. So I wouldn't say they're bullshitting there. But that's still out of what we're looking for. We're looking on a definition. And yeah, that's still pretty much in line with what I always thought empathy to be. Another side would simply defines it as the ability to build social connections with. No, that just would allow social connections with others by understanding what people are thinking and feeling, and how to, just as simple as that. Understanding what people are thinking and feeling, like from their own points of view. That girl's power is still not empathy. Because indeed, it's essentially she has mind reading powers and it's just mind reading powers and taking an empathetic approach to what you've learned from the mind reading. That is not empathy. It's just mind reading. Using your mind reading powers to be more effectively empathetic with someone. And even then, I still wouldn't really consider that girl very empathetic. Because indeed, it's like even more reason why they shouldn't call it empathy. And I swear I'll leave it, like that. Like, I'll stop talking about this game after I make this last point. I wouldn't say that girl's very empathetic. Another reason why they shouldn't call this power empathy is with the scenario that they showed off in that game where, that girl, sure empathized with that guy, only to then later have the option to be completely apathetic to him and sell him out.
saying he's full of shit and stuff. That doesn't sound very empathetic to me. It sounds pretty damn apathetic. But then, I guess there's a different, but then at the same time, you can make a argument where there's still a difference between being empathetic and having the ability to be and having the ability to have empathy. Like, the empathetic approach is, I guess it's the matter of verb and adjective. Empathy in terms of a verb, but then empathy in terms of an adjective. To where, I mean, it can indeed be a case. Like, it can be a real actual case where you may be able to empathize with a person, but then, say, you may understand where they're coming from, but then you still strongly disapprove of it. To the point where you still, to where you may get them, but you can still purposely choose to be apathetic, to respond apathetically. So, I guess, I don't know. This game is freaking weird to me, and that's all I'm gonna say.